Let's now bring in Canny, who is up for us, Canny Maphanga, following the Madlanga Commission. Canny, a very good afternoon to you. So, another day where essentially, the commissioners really questioned Masemola in terms of just some of the allegations that he was bringing forward. Speak to us in terms of what transpired, particularly as we look at after lunch discussions and, of course, looking forward to a new witness on Thursday.
Indeed. Good afternoon to you, Mfundo, and or rather apologies, Unati, and to the viewers at home. And we've seen the General Masemola basically conclude his testimony where he walked us through a path where a decision was taken, where he really had no idea that such a decision was looming, and then the strategy he took to get an idea as to why the decision to disband the PKTT was taken by the police minister, that is Senzo Mchunu. Then he takes us through his very detailed conclusion that is quite similar to that of Lieutenant General Mkhwanazi, that once they joined the dots, so they looked at the records during the period of December 2024, that is between the 6th of December and the final date of the 31st of December 2024, when the decision was, leaked to the public. They then were able to join the dots, stating that this all links back to this alleged operation in Gauteng of an organized crime syndicate allegedly operating within the criminal justice system, and was exposed to the work of the PKTT, which we've heard throughout the course of the past 5 days that the Commission has been sitting, has been investigating alleged cartel members in Gauteng, and once they achieved success in that raid, then there was this alleged colluded efforts to stop that probe. And then the only way to stop that probe would be to disband the PKTT, which was making advancements towards the fight towards drug cartels in the Gauteng province. Now, after the adjournment, he moved from the PKTT to address Lieutenant General Sabir, who was appointed in 2023 to the South African Police Services as the Deputy National Commissioner for Crime Detection. He states that from the beginning of him entering the service again to serve in the South African Police Services, that he has a particular interest in certain units within the South African Police Services, and that includes the PKTT. We understand that he didn't want General Dumisani Khumalo of Crime Intelligence to oversee the work of the PKTT. He had an interest in bringing that over to a different individual. We also understand that he had an interest in particular dockets. So that is the picture that he paints of Sabir. But at the time, General Masemola states that he did not know what the motive or the conclusion was geared towards when all of these interests came about once Sabir had entered his particular role. He goes into various details about Mchunu's efforts to resolve this issue surrounding the PKTT, or rather its disbandment, and how there were different officers in different ranks, that is particularly Sabir, Mkhwanazi, Khumalo and Masemola, that held different views regarding the disbandment of the PKTT. He stated that Mchunu tried to get a meeting between those particular parties, but Masemola felt that the interests of the PKTT was way more important than the differences that these high-ranking police officials may have had with one another. He also goes into the proposal to wind down. Yesterday, it may have been read as an inaction by General Masemola in response to that instruction, which he contends was an unlawful one by the police minister. But later today, we come to learn that it was a tactical strategy that he employed in order to get the quote-unquote real objective behind the disbandment of the PKTT. He reaches the conclusion that all of these actions were geared towards these key figures that they have now nabbed, that it's a successful arrest, at least for Katiso Molefe and Vusimuzi Matlaala. These cases are, of course, pending, but he finds that in their records they were able to join the key figures, that is Kat Matlaala, to the Lieutenant General Sabir, allegedly. Then, of course, they were also able to connect him to Brown Mokgotsi, who was an alleged associate of the police minister, Senzo Mchunu. He also states that this does not fare well for the public in eroding the public trust that it has in SABC. And then, of course, he also states that he has an additional affidavit that he wants to present before the Commission on some reforms for the South African Police Services with respect to the role of the Minister and the role of the National Commissioner, because we understand that in a lot of this probe that we've seen take place, that there has been a distinction that had to be created between the policy head, that is the Minister, and the operational head, that is General Masemola, the National Commissioner of SABS. So essentially what he has done, what we have led up to in the past 2 days, is him reaching the same conclusion as Lieutenant General Mkhwanazi, that there was this alleged collusion between key SABS figures and the Minister together with this alleged drug cartel. Of course, certainly more questions for the Police Minister and Lieutenant General Sabir, who we expect may be called during phase 2 of the Madlanga Commission. Of course, tomorrow is a public holiday, which means that the Commission will return on Thursday with a new witness that is expected to speak to the evidence in chief that Mkhwanazi has presented before this Commission.